You folks out. Good morning and welcome to the Weber County Board of Equalization. We appreciate you being here. It's Tuesday, the 24th of May, and just at 9, we're actually at 9:41 here today. Apologize for my being tardy. That's my fault. Our staff today, we have full quorum, and we're grateful to have you here. Our consent items, we're going to go to the Board of Equalization minutes held on May 4th, 2021, just over a year ago. Are there any corrections or anything to the minutes, Commissioners, that you saw there?
No, I'd make a motion to approve.
Thank you. You have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2 on our agenda is an approval for significant changes on property value of the following properties. I'll let the record show that these are going to be entered in, but I don't think I need to read all of those, do I?
No. You can just refer to the agenda.
Well, just for those of you, just refer to the agenda of those parcels that are on there. I believe there were, if it was 8, I think if I had to total, is that right, 8 or 9? April? 8. 8. And so we're going to have some, why don't you, I was looking for a presentation on this. Or what?
You guys had decided you wanted to make it a consent.
Oh, a consent item.
Consent
And you know it is. And so if you'll just look for those, thank you very much, sorry. If you'll, are there any questions about the consent items on item number B of those 8 properties? Hearing none, I'll place that motion for vote, or I'll ask for a motion to approve those consent items.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second. I will abstain, but I will ask for the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll abstain again. Thanks. Item number C is an action item, their approval of the 2021 tax relief. April, come on up and give us that presentation if you would, please.
Right. Good morning, Commissioners. How are you today?
Good morning.
I don't know what that needs to do. All right. So I'm here again as Weber County's Deputy Clerk for the Board of Equalization to report the county's endeavors to equalize property values, issue tax exemptions, and property tax relief programs. Okay? I call it the county's endeavors because it takes a lot of people to organize, understand, and update these ever-changing programs. I'm so grateful to our front counter team there in the clerk auditor's office, Andy, Camille, Linda, Tammy, Katie, Jenna, Leah, all of them, who work hard every day to make each person that comes into our office looking for help feel like they've come to the right place. I'm also grateful to Lynn and Roger and Ricky for their sharing their knowledge and skills with me. Also, the assessor's office is key in these programs. Dee Dee has done an excellent job stepping into Joe's shoes since he retired last year. And the whole department has worked tirelessly to evaluate all of the properties in Weber County. So right into the tax relief programs. Of course, state legislature allows tax relief to be granted by the county for a variety of reasons, including veterans with a disability, elderly with lower income, indigent, blind, and deployed military. Weber County approved a total of 4,666 applications last year. It was an increase of 86 applications over the prior year, and broke down into categories, our largest category being the veterans with a disability, 3,517 of those. Circuit breaker, 921, that's the elderly with lower income. Indigent abatement, 254, the blind, 98, and we had 24 deployed veterans in '21. Total dollar amount of tax relief provided through these programs was a little over 7.2 million, which is roughly 2.34% of our total property tax collections. So not a large. Any questions on the tax relief?
Commissioners, any questions? That's a great report, April. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Frohr, Commissioner Jenkins?
No, it's great. I was glad you brought up the increase of 86. I was wondering what the increase was. So that's a fairly insignificant number based upon the inflation and the economy we've seen in that period of time. So
Right.
we'll see what it is next year. But
Right, we had a large increase on last year's report for
Yeah.
2020, but this year for 2021, we're moving along.
so what you're saying for next year when we look at this, it may be substantially higher.
It could be, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know. Mr. Chair, I'm ready to make a motion when you're ready.
Entertain a motion. Thank you.
So I would move to approve the 2021 tax relief totals as given today, shown on the attached sheet.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve those. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Let's move on to item number 2 on our action items, a request for approval of 2021 appeals and journal entries. Ms. Hatfield?
So, appeals and journal vouchers. The Weber County sent out 99,382 valuation notices last year. Of those, we had a record low number of appeals, 645 total appeals last year.
What is it normally?
Year before, it was just under 1,000. The year before that, it was closer to 2,000. So it has,
Gone from 2 to 1%, or
Right.
even less. Okay, great.
right? Yeah, 0.65% of total notices mailed. We did have a higher number of appeals not accepted at 118 of those for lack of evidence, not timely, or whatever other reason. We had, I'm sure you remember the issue with the airport and the hangars. So we had a lot of those appeals come in that we weren't able to work. But we had 527 accepted appeals, 170.
Recording stopped.
How about that?
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay, keep going.
Of the 527 accepted, there was 171 with no adjustments made. 356 had some sort of adjustment made to the value, and that is just 0.36% of all notices mailed. So a very small amount of the properties in the county that we found needed any kind of adjustment. So we also processed 1,642 journal vouchers, with 591 of those being value adjustments and 1,051 being direct charge adjustments, like tax relief, made after September 1st cutoff. And that is the end of that. Any questions?
Any questions for item number 2 that was just presented, Commissioners?
I'd make a motion that we approve the 2021 appeals and journal entries.
Thank you very much. And I have a motion
Second?
and a second for that. Item number 2, that's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3 on our action item this morning is a request for approval of the 2022 property tax exemption filings. Again, April Hatfield, go ahead, please.
So I had forwarded the list of the exempt organizations accepted for this year, but it wasn't the final. I had one extra organization to add to that. So I'm going to hand you all an updated exempt org.
Please, come forward. Thank you.
So there were, like I said, there was just one extra organization that didn't get on the original report, the Mitchell Foundation, but we have it on there at this point. So our exempt org filings have stayed pretty steady for the past year, with 3 new approved organizations this year and 2 other organizations that discontinued operations. That brings us to a current total of 169 active exempt organizations. Broken down by category, we've got 80 religious, 7 educational, and 82 charitable. And we sincerely appreciate the work that these organizations do to help build our communities and lift up our citizens.
Commissioners, questions on the list, the corrected list that you've seen here? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So, there is one comment. Weber County Sheriff's Mounted Posse,
Yes, sir.
meeting and training building. So, they've been developing around that building, and it's about the only thing sitting out there still. And I thought maybe they'll be gone any time, but obviously they're still here.
Yeah.
They're still filing, yes.
Yeah. So I'd make a motion to approve the 2022 property tax exempt filings.
Have a motion
Second?
and a second. Place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much, April.
Very welcome.
Appreciate you've done a wonderful job for us here, and we really appreciate being able to depend and rely on your information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. Item number D, Commissioners, is our public comments. Are there any public? None in person, I see. Are there any online, Christie? We'll move off of that then, and we'll move on to item E, which is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We're adjourned.
This is Weber County Commission, Commissioners, Commission Board. Today is the 24th of May, and it's a couple minutes after 10. We welcome you here. Our pledge this morning will be given by Christy Bingham, invocation by Commissioner Frohr, and thought of the day by Commissioner Harvey. We'll go to that point. So, Christy.
Our Father in heaven, we come together on this beautiful spring day that you've given us as citizens of this great country in Weber County. We give you thanks for our form of government and the freedoms and opportunities that we all enjoy in this country. We give thanks for the recent water that you have given us, and we ask that you please bless us with additional water through the summer so that we may overcome this drought and enjoy the opportunities that we have in this great county and state. We ask, Father, for your blessings to ensure that decisions made today are made with your guidance and inspiration. And ask that you bless those in our community that suffer with health issues and that they may see return to full health and enjoy all your blessings. Father, finally, we ask for your guidance so that we as citizens may all work together for a better future and help us treat each other in a kind and respectful manner in these difficult times that we have in this world today. We say this prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Commissioners, the title of my thought today is Necktie and Necklaces. I've got no elaborate poem or no fancy to-dos, but if you live out in the south area of our county like I do, the roads are a little more crowded over the last week because the cars are filled with neckties and necklaces. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, as people make their way, and last night was a great example, traveling home, the intersection at 40th and Washington was backed up 2 blocks, almost in each direction, with people waiting on the light. It wasn't because the light was malfunctioned. It was because there were so many people in neckties and necklaces. You may say, well, now what's going on? Why are there so many neckties and necklaces? Well, they were all at that light, and they were headed towards what we used to call the Big D Hamburger, or the D Event Center. And why? Graduation. All those people that were trying to get to the parking lots to be able to get into the next graduation commencement. As those commencements happened for the schools all around Weber and a lot of Davis and even some Box Elder counties because of the size of them, people tend to crowd those intersections making their way to celebrate a milestone in the life of those who have achieved and attended all their years of school. And so my thought today is just simple. While we consider the purpose of putting on a necktie or a necklace, we consider what it means to celebrate those who learn a little more. Whether it's the youth who finish up their 12 years of get that certificate, or whether it's someone who's graduated from any other kind of a program. I hope that we will celebrate and not be critical. I hope that we'll line up at intersections wanting to support, encourage those people around us And occasionally show that respect by putting on a necktie or a necklace. And that's my thoughts for today, Commissioner.
Good thought. You know, I had 2 grandkids in those deals yesterday, those graduations, and Fremont's graduating class this year was 625 kids. That's a monstrous graduating class, 625.
That's why they need a new school out there.
Yeah, that's right. Commissioner, that is why they needed a new school. I was amazed by that. Good thought.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, they had reform school when I was a kid. I just thought I'd bring that up.
I heard about that.
You didn't go to that, though.
Oh,
Spend a little
Next.
time at High Wall High, did you?
All right, our next item on the agenda is item E, which is public comments. We have a fair amount of public here today. Is there anybody who would like to comment on items on the agenda? Please come forward. We'd love to hear from you. See none, we will go to item F, the consent items, as follows. Item 1, request for approval of the warrants as listed today. Item 2, request for approval of purchase orders as listed on the doc today. Item 3, summary of warrants and purchase orders. Item 4, request for approval of the minutes of the meeting held May 17, 2022. Item 5, request for approval of business licenses. Item 6, request for approval of Weber County Human Resource Policy 4-300, insurance and required retirement benefits. Item 7, request to declare parcel 04022-0016 as surplus property. Item 8, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Jacob Stimson for the use of his canine support animal as part of the peer support team. Item 9 is request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Snow Basin Resort Company for Weber County to provide search and rescue. Item 10 is request for a contract by and between Weber County and Powder Mountain for the Weber County to approve search and rescue. So that search and rescue, we're just simply formalizing it. So Ricky, would you like to give us a summary of the warrants and purchase orders?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We issued 9 purchase orders this week for $58,000. 29% of that amount, or $17,000, is for the health department to purchase furniture. 18%, or $11,000, is for property management, which will go towards new signs here at the Weber Center. 17%, or $10,000, is for building inspection, which will go towards open orders for building inspectors to provide those services. As far as warrants, we issued 146 warrants for $1.7 million. 22% of that amount, or $384,000, relates to escrow releases, primarily to Taylor Landing, as well as some for Cherokee Farms. 14%, or $220,000, is our paramedic services payment. And then 12%, or $207,000, is the monthly contribution to the Weber Human Services Organization. We had 2 items at 11%, or roughly $195,000. One was for the county financial software maintenance and motor vehicles being paid to the state, motor vehicle fees. And then one for the health department, which was primarily flooring for the 2nd floor of the health department annex, as well as a contribution to the Community Action Network. We had 2 items at 5% and 6%, or about $100,000. One was for public defender services, and the other was a contribution, or contribution to the Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Very good. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
No comments. If
Not
you're
for
ready,
me.
I'll make a motion.
I am ready.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve those consent items, 1 through and including 10, as presented today.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. They're approved. Action item 1, request for approval of contract by and between Weber County and Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music. We held to hold the 15th annual Ogden Musical Festival at Fort Buenaventura. Mr. Todd Ferrario.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
As you guys are aware, this has been going on as stated, for 15 years. It's an iconic event at Fort Buenaventura. If you look at the lineup they have some of the most famous bluegrass bands from around the United States and even internationally at times. It's a great partnership with Weber County. We'll get, over the course of the day, those 3 days, about 4,000 people will attend this event. Great organization to work with. We do a good job about splitting our tasks and sharing the camping and the work to be done, and put on quite an event. So we would appreciate your support on this event.
Questions, commissioners? What day is this, Todd?
It's first weekend of June, so I believe it's 2nd, 3rd, 4th of June. Maybe off one day. We have 4 events that weekend, so it's a little scramble on that weekend. Another one at Weber Memorial and 2 up at North Fork. So
Good for you.
Commissioner Harvey, this is in your portfolio.
No, that's great. Now, because of that, if you're willing already, I'd like to make a motion that we
Yeah.
approve this OFOAM event in June for Fort Buenaventura out there in Weber County.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I also, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could we talk a little bit about another event coming up called
Sure.
the Mountain Ops?
Yeah.
Mr. Ferrario, would you mind talking a little
Sure.
about that?
pretty exciting new partnership and event. Mountain Ops is a hunting nutritional company based out of Davis County. They are coming on board as a sponsor of the archery park. They're also holding half of their event this year, which is their Conquer Festival, their Conquer Summit. They will be doing some events at their headquarters on Friday, the 24th. They do a half marathon. They do a night in one of the parks where they show a movie for the people of Davis County. Saturday, it moves over to Weber County. We will be doing a 3D shoot. And probably the best part of this whole event, they have a Conquer Hunger portion of this, where Mountain Ops brings in about 3 or 4 semis worth of non-perishable foods. And they pre-package between 40 and 45,000 meals. Half will go to Davis County, half will go to Weber County schools. And for those kids that are earmarked that when they go home in the weekends may not have meals, that's where it goes.
Very good. Thanks, Todd. We appreciate that.
Good job.
That's
Thank
really
you so
good.
much, and good job with getting things together with them.
All right, next item on our agenda is request for approval of a contract between Weber County and J. Brad Bartow Construction Incorporated for general contractor services. Mr. Sean Wilkinson.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
As you're aware, we have some construction going on here at the Weber Center. We are finishing some space here on the first floor for our new public defenders, and also a location up on the second floor for some meeting space. We'll put a new conference room in there, and these are spaces that we are leasing from Woodbury Corporation. Commissioners, as part of the building code, because this is type B occupancy, we are required to have a commercially licensed general contractor oversee the construction of these tenant finishes. And that's what this contract with Brad Bartow is for. We have worked with him in the past, and this contract is under the $10,000 limit where we would need 3 bids, and we are bringing that to you today for your approval for Mr. Bartow to act as the general contractor for these 2 tenant finish projects here at the Weber Center.
So, Mr. Bartow is actually doing the county a big favor here. So, it's to be appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, moment of privilege here. Go ahead. I've known Brad Bartow since 1971, when he used to ride that little yellow Yamaha 60 like a... He was very, very fast in that little thing back in the place called the Bulls in Riverdale, Washington Terrace area. He's fast then to get a lot of stuff done on that motorcycle that most big guys couldn't do, so this doesn't surprise me. He's just continued that legacy, but it also tells you how old we're getting there, too, if that was clear back then.
He was fast and he's still pretty fast.
Is he? He's a Plain City boy now, isn't he?
Plain City boy now. All right. Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair, if it's okay, I'll make that motion that we approve the contract between Weber County and Brad Bartow for contracting services.
I have a motion.
And I'm going to second that with the comment, Mr. Chair.
You bet. Go ahead.
And, yeah, I appreciate that Mr. Bartow is doing the county a favor, but it still intrigues me that the state of Utah would require a municipality subdivision of the state to require a independent contractor on our behalf when we're actually responsible for it, and I don't think we're going to have any liability that would come our way. So again, I support that, but this may need to be we need to take a look at this legislation. I don't know if you've had any conversations with that, Sean.
Commissioner, I believe part of this was a requirement of Woodbury's lease agreement with us, that we had to have a licensed contractor as well.
Oh, was that was in the lease agreement, not by
Correct.
statute? Then?
Well, by statute, it's required as well. Now, we may have some way to not have to deal with it from the statute standpoint. I'd have to take a look at that. But I do know as part of the lease agreement, Woodbury
Okay.
did require that.
Yeah, and I remember that now that you bring it up. It still confuses me that we as the county would pay extra money when we take full responsibility and liability for any of these improvement projects we get.
Correct.
But anyway,
Thank you.
just, again, that's an additional expense that I don't feel that the taxpayers in this county should be obligated to, but that's the way it is.
That is. I agree with you there, but I don't know a way around it.
Well, we can change state law, first off, and then be careful when we sign a lease agreement, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, not everything that happens down at the state, I'll leave it there.
Really? I didn't know that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. It passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, unanimously. All right, we need a motion to vacate this meeting and go into a public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, we are now in a public hearing for discussion and action on a county-initiated zoning text amendment to regulate in the manufacturing zones M1, MV1, M2, M3 regarding garbage dumps, landfills, incinerators, transfer stations, automobile wrecking, and junkyards and similar uses, ZTA 2022-1. Public, go ahead, Scott Perks.
Thank you, Commissioners, and good morning. As mentioned, so this is a county-initiated text amendment. It's an ordinance before you today to look at the manufacturing zoning ordinance and some of these heavy intensive uses. We're doing an awful lot of planning out there with the general plan and with economic development, and we wanted to look at these types of uses to see if they'd be compatible in the short term at least. And discussing this with the Planning Commission, we felt it would be best at this time to label them as not permitted. Currently, they're listed as conditionally permitted in the M3 zone. And as you guys are aware, a conditionally permitted use has to be approved if they can show a reasonable mitigation to their anticipated impacts. And so to prevent any of those uses going in under a conditional use permit for the time being, we thought it would be best to list them as not permitted. So this particular proposal does that with a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. We did make a couple of minor adjustments between yesterday's work session and today in the ordinance, a couple of minor adjustments to the use of the term garbage. We've gone to the term solid waste instead with a new definition for that term, just to make sure there's no confusion as to what we're talking about with these land uses. But if you guys have any questions, happy to go through the details on that. Otherwise, I'm here to answer anything you may have.
Questions, Commissioners?
None for me.
None from me.
Thank you, Mr. Burke.
You're welcome.
All right. This is a public hearing, so it's now time for public comment. Of those here that would like to comment on this in this public hearing, now would be the time. Please step forward. I see none. All right, we're going to end public comment. That ends the formal side of this, so I need a motion to adjourn the public hearing and go back to a open meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
And I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Very good. We're now back in for a regular reconvened public meeting. Would either of you care to make a motion to take action on this?
I'd be happy to, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Farrar.
So I would move to approve ordinance 2022-15, which would include zoning text amendments to regulations in manufacturing zones MV1, M1, M2, M3 regarding garbage, dumps, landfills, incinerators, transfer stations, automobile wrecking or junkyards, and similar uses. And I'd like to make a comment, if I could, with that. So I appreciate the work of staff on this. Obviously, as we look for future potential development out west, it's important that we recognize what uses would be appropriate there. And this is a good catch by planning, because if you look at the 2003 general plan, a long time ago, it talks about using the manufacturing area as clean, self-contained, and non-intrusive, non-polluting, basically the ability not to intrude upon their neighbors, which is good public policy. With the conditional use in there, as Mr. Perks pointed out, we might have a difficult time turning away certain uses like rendering plants, pollution, those. So this gives us the ability to better control the uses, and especially for those neighbors out there that surround the future, whenever that may be, of development in the manufacturing zone and what we refer to as the mega site.
Very good. I have a motion.
Second?
And a second. To that, I also would like to make a comment. I think we accidentally had this included in some work we did on this zoning a couple of months ago when we're removing it. So this was out and in and now back out.
Yeah.
All right, I will call that motion then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. No opposition.
Commissioner Jenkins, that's an ordinance.
Oh, that was an ordinance. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know, Craig. I did catch that. I just forgot to go to you to have him call that. So, Craig, why don't you go ahead and call? This is supposed to be a roll call vote, everybody, so that's my bad. Go ahead.
Okay, roll call vote for ordinance 2022-15. Commissioner Farrar.
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey.
Aye.
Chair Jenkins.
Aye. Thanks, Craig. We appreciate that. All right. Today, we have a special moment. It doesn't happen very often, but it's happening this month. We have a new Stall of Fame member.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming here. And since there's really, well, Sean, are you going to come and present this? No? Ricky is. Ricky, step up, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In 2010, when I was elected at the Republican Party Convention in April of 2010, before the meeting had even finished, someone came up to me and said, "You've got to fix your purchasing department. There are big problems there." That was the first thing that I even was contacted about. And one of the big concerns was that purchasing was viewed as a blocker or a blockade, as opposed to a facilitator and a partner. And that's kind of understandable given their role. In the purchasing department, their role is to help keep folks like us out of jail. It's to help make sure that we're following the policies and procedures of the county and not doing backroom deals or skirting around the controls and the requirements that the state sets up and that we set up here at the county. So they kind of have to be negative naysayer a little bit, or the enforcer. And so it's hard, but there was a lot of concerns. Over the years, we've made incremental improvements with hiring decisions and trying to change the focus of purchasing, but we still had challenges. And then if you look at purchasing today, you can tell it is absolutely opposite of what it was 10 years ago or 12 years ago. Our purchasing office is viewed as a helpful facilitator and a partner with the other departments in the county, and they still help keep everybody out of jail. They do a good job, and I would say there is one person who is primarily responsible for this sea change in the perception, and that is Mr. Jason Horn. I'm not going to go into all of the different details as to the great things that they have done, but just a few of the things that purchasing has done. They've moved virtually all of the RFP processes and bids and things into an electronic format, which is just better for everybody before, during, and after the RFP process is completed. They did a heavy multiple-year lift on revising the procurement ordinance for the county, which brought us into the modern age, and did a fantastic job there, and the county is more efficient because of it and still very well controlled. They have taken on additional responsibilities, including helping with the management of the fleet of the county, as well as helping with the paramedic fund and the purchases, and working with all of the various paramedic entities and first responders throughout the county. But really the biggest thing that Jason has brought to this office is attitude, and more than one attitude. He has, I'll let you fill in the blanks on what kind of attitude he's brought, but I'll give a couple of ideas. First off, he is helpful. That is his mantra, is how can I help? And he is constantly exemplified that in his communications with others and how he's approached things. Extremely professional. In purchasing, sometimes you get some heated situations when you have vendors vying for pretty large contracts. And Jason has understood the challenges of this and the importance to the county as well as to the vendors and the bidders. And he has always maintained a professional and very objective and still helpful attitude for them. And lastly, he's pretty dang fun. If you go down to the purchasing office and you see, you feel welcome, and any communication with him is laced with humor and welcoming, and so he really brings a refreshing attitude into the county and among the various department heads and those that he works with. So, and I suspect that if we brought Sean and others up here, they would say very much the same thing, just high praises. And so that's why it's my honor to introduce him as our county's Stall of Fame recipient.
That's great. Plus, on top of all of that, he ran an Ironman this year. And that's incredible in and of itself. I'm way impressed. Commissioners, you want to give him a ovation?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he deserves it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, come on up here, Jason, and we'll...
You going down?
Yeah, we're going to present this to you and get a pic.
Sure. You guys want to hug it out?
Hug it out. I don't know about hug it out. Picture sounds good. Who's going to take the picture? Christy, isn't that you comes and takes these pictures?
Better get Ricky in here.
Come on, Ricky. Get in here, bud.
Here, you stand next to Jason. There we go.
One, two, three.
Congratulations. Usually, we do appreciate it. Usually you have a speech.
Yeah. You want to say something?
Keep it under 30 minutes.
I had absolutely no idea that this was coming, so I definitely appreciate it. I know that I looked over and was ready to go once the purchase order stuff was out of the way, and I think I was directed by Scott and Matt to sit down, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't look at the rest of the agenda, but I do appreciate it, and I actually enjoy working with everyone here. It's been really cool. I came from the outdoor industry, which was extremely fun, but at times very volatile, and so it's nice to land somewhere where things are a little bit more stable, and you can support a family and different things like that. So I'm grateful to be here, and again, I'm thankful that I have all of you that I get to work with. I did notice that Marty was in the back, so with him and his bum leg, if he wants to take the stall for the next little while, he's more than welcome to do that. So anyway, but yeah, thanks to all of you. I look forward to many more years working with you, and so thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Well, commissioners, that takes us to commissioner comments. Would either of you care to comment on anything?
I would, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So, as some of you realize, we had a big event this past weekend. It was called the Ogden Marathon, half marathon, 12K and 5K, and very well run marathon. I mean, if you take a look at the professionalism and how this was carried off, and I actually was able to participate in that. Everyone I talked to ranked this very high in the marathons that they've done. From the staff, from the course, just a beautiful opportunity. It showcases our county, showcases Ogden Valley and the Canyon. But best of all, it showcases our people that we have in this county that do so much on a volunteer basis. It takes a lot of volunteers to put on an operation like that, and they came out and really show what we have to offer here in Weber County. But I also must mention we had a couple of people from the county. Our own Chris Crockett ran it, Sean Wilkinson, the best treasurer in the state of Utah, John Bond. Jason, were you there?
No, I couldn't get in. It sold out, and I'm glad that it did.
He does triathlons. Marathons aren't anything for him. But a beautiful day, and enjoyable by all those that participated. So it's a great, again, another great venue we have in this county to go along with all our others.
Boy, that is so true. Commissioner Harvey?
Oh, it's wonderful. You know, I enjoy loading the buses at 4 o'clock in the morning on those things. It's high energy, it's fun, it's great.
It is fun to see them transform the city. Getting ready to finish that downtown, and it's a great finish.
It is. And Gold Foundation does a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
We got an email from them thanking Weber County for their support.
Yeah.
So that was good. Well, good deal. Well, I have nothing else to bring up either. So with that, how about a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we adjourn this fine meeting today.
Very good.
Second?
All fair say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.